All right, folks. Sometimes there's stories out there that are a little bit hard to stomach. Um, I cover the hacking community, especially in regards to Nintendo Switch. Uh, Pretty much every year, there's something that happens, something major. One of the most popular, actually, I think it is actually the most popular video I have made over the last 3 years has actually been about Switch hacking and Nintendo's attempts to combat it, and how Nintendo has done some really clever things to combat hacking. It ultimately always fails because when there's a will, there's a way, and nothing is unhackable, um, even though it can be very difficult. This particular person um, kind of did a boo boo, a big boo boo. Obviously, you see in the title of this article on Polygon, the Switch hacker pleads guilty, faces child. I can't really even say the word because YouTube will probably come down hard on my channel, and I don't think they should because this is just news, and it's not my fault that this is what the news is. Prosecutors say he promised to stop hacking. He broke into the Nintendo servers anyways, and this person was responsible for a lot of leaks over the last how many years. Because he did hack into Nintendo's actual servers, leak game data. He wasn't just hacking Nintendo Switch, he was hacking servers. So he was getting player information, he was getting information about future Nintendo Directs, information about future games. He was just basically found a vulnerability and just kept exploiting it. And yes, Nintendo needs to work at patching up those vulnerabilities, but again, nothing's unhackable. If there's a will, there's a way. And when he first hacked into Nintendo servers and started getting big in the Nintendo Switch hacking community, was when he was 16, and this was a number of years ago. This is before, I believe, even the Switch. So he's a California man who hacked Nintendo of America's servers and leaked information about Nintendo Switch before its 2017 launch. So again, he was, leaking stuff about Switch before it even came out. And all those leaks ended up being right because it came from Nintendo servers. He must pay the company almost $260,000 in restitution, but that's probably the least of his problems. His name is Ryan S. Hernandez. I really don't care about the name. I don't care about the notoriety here. Enjoy your 15 seconds of fame when you're going to be in jail for the next 25 years. But he pleaded guilty on Friday to the charges related to a 2016 phishing scheme that got him access to Nintendo servers, where he was able to download several confidential files related to the Switch and forthcoming game releases. But he also pleaded guilty to child charges related to a directory of more than 1,000, explicit videos and images of, minors and such that he stored in a folder he labeled bad stuff. I guess that's what a teen would label their folder. It's dumb. Nintendo charges could get him a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, but the child stuff carries a potential sentence of 20 years. And there's like thousands of images, plus he's already guilty for another crime. Chances are he's going to get close to the maximum 20 years. Hernandez will also have to register as, an offender. Prosecutors in a plea agreement have recommended that a judge sentence him to 3 years in prison. But again, that's going to be up to the judge. The biggest thing is that he was caught back in 2016 by Nintendo, and Nintendo basically told him to stop. Like, Nintendo didn't go after him for anything. They said, hey, look, you just need to stop. Like, Nintendo has been a bit more open to the hacking community, saying, hey, look, you find a vulnerability, like, hey, just stop. Let us fix it, and that's it. But he didn't stop. So, in a statement from the office of Brian T. Moore, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Washington in Seattle, prosecutors said Hernandez has been contacted by investigators about the first hack on October 2017. Then, a 16-year-old, he promised to stop his hacking. So that was kind of like the, hey, look, we're going to stop. Maybe we'll just let it go, right? Like, it's a kid. Nintendo doesn't want to ruin a kid's life. That's just kind of, hey, look, he's a really intelligent kid. He got access. Cool. Let's move on with our day. But, nevertheless, from at least June 2018 to June 2019, Hernandez returned to his malicious activities, hacking into multiple Nintendo servers and stealing confidential information about various popular video games, gaming consoles, and developer tools. This is how we learned about certain things that it leaked, like the fact that Switch Pro does exist somewhere, even though Nintendo's saying it's not coming this year. We have learned about certain things that they might be doing with the Switch Pro. We have learned about certain games that aren't even announced yet. And I'm not going to go over any of that information that I've now seen because I of how it was obtained. It'd be different if it was like someone knew someone and it told them something, but this guy literally committed a crime, and is an offender. So like we're not gonna go over the information he has, even though I now know some things that I kind of wish I didn't know. Anyways, prosecutors say Hernandez will boasted about his thefts on Twitter and Discord and leaked some of the information to others. They also operated an online forum called Ryan's Underground Hangout, which has been seized, where he shared information about Nintendo Network vulnerabilities with others. Hernandez has already agreed to pay $259,323 in restitution to Nintendo. I don't know how he has that kind of money, but I don't know anything about his family. And chances are he might not have to pay that. Sometimes they go after you for huge fines to deter future things, but then like it gets settled later and it's much less. But he's also like... He's also he's an offender of child stuff. Like this guy is sick. I mean, you go into the comments, like, you know, many effed up things about this, but labeling your child full of their bad stuff. How do people like this pay restitution? Like, he's not gonna have the money to even pay that. You know, Simpsons level stupid. Like, the guy's dumb. Like this guy, this Ryan, whatever his name is, he is an idiot. He's a piece of garbage. There's a lot of bad people out in the world. There really is. I wish it wasn't true. I wish that I want to live in this fantasy world where everything's all wishy-washy and fantasy-like. Things are like Disney movies where like you have like your couple evil characters, but everyone else is genuinely good people. But that's not the way the world works. There's a lot of bad actors out there. A lot of people that are doing things maliciously and know they're doing it maliciously. This guy was maliciously, even cockily going after Nintendo's servers and information. Just didn't care about the repercussions, and doing this meanwhile while also having another illegal activity going on that is much worse, much more severe, and knowing that Nintendo already was aware and prosecutors were already aware that you hacked Nintendo previously. You'd figure that would be the time to scrub your computer of everything and stop the other bad acting, but he couldn't help himself. He couldn't stop it because that's the fetish. That's what he's into. And I get some people might be like, oh, he was a minor or he was like a teenager or anything. Usually when we're talking about child stuff like that, especially at his ages between 16 to 18, we're talking about like younger children stuff in the folder. I don't know what's in the folder, so I don't want to make too many presumptions, but I just know it's illegal. So the question now is, what do you guys think his sentence should be? I don't want to get too much into all of the particulars because we don't have all the information. We just have surface level information. Evidence that, he did have the child stuff and he has hacked Nintendo twice. And one concern I have about a story like this is I guess it brings negativity to the Nintendo Switch hacking community. And I do want to note, and this is where I come to the defense of Switch hackers and hackers in general, is that I would say probably a good 90% of Switch hackers aren't doing this maliciously. They aren't, accessing Nintendo servers and trying to leak information. They're not hacking the Switch to pirate games. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. We all know it does happen. But I don't think that's a majority of the hacking community. The hacking community has done a lot of really nice things. We've gotten homebrew running, and people think of homebrew like, oh, it's a way to pirate games. Sure, but there's more you can do. You can back up save files for things like Splatoon 2, which Nintendo does not offer a way to back up your save file. So when my Switch was sold, that's it. My save file for Splatoon 2, gone. I cannot get my save file back. I have literally, when I boot up Splatoon 2, it's like I'm starting all over again. And that sucks because Nintendo doesn't offer a way to back it up. But if I would have hacked my Switch and put homebrew on, I could have backed up my save file. I could have added custom themes to my thing. I could have had added a music player or enable music to play in the background while I'm on the home menu or even while I'm playing different games. You can add in features like voice chat through a third-party application. There's a lot of things that Switch hacking does. I mean, one thing, and this is actually a really cool thing, and I wish that companies would maybe enable fans to do this on their own, but have them accept an agreement that, hey, if they do this, they void their warranty or whatever. People have been able to unlock the GPU, APU, CPU stuff inside the Switch and are able to overclock it and run it at base clocks or run it higher than base clocks and get better performance out of their games. We've seen, videos of Switch games, Breath of the Wild, The Witcher 3, and others running fantastic when the APU is overclocked and or running at stock speeds versus what Nintendo runs it at, and the Switch can actually handle the heat dissipation decently. You can understand why they don't let it, because it does get to a point that it's pretty hot to the touch. But if you're just playing in docked mode, it doesn't really, most people aren't really going to care about that. And I think, enabling people to do that with their hardware, whether it's on the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5 or even like current gen systems, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Switch, if they would just enable people to do that, as long as they sign, a waiver and you cap how high they can overclock, so it doesn't blow up the machine, I think that, that should be fine. It's just like when you order PC parts. I can overclock my PC parts as much as I want. I just know that, if it can, void the warranty if I burn out a CPU or a GPU because I'm overclocking. I know that. I accept that risk. And I think that should be something that we're allowed to do as consumers, but that is something the Switch hacking community has enabled, and I think it's a overly positive thing just to see what the current hardware in Switch is capable of if Nintendo shrunk the die or used a better cooling solution, vapor cooling or whatever, or if, just to see what literally running the current chip in their X1 at base speeds would feel like a Switch Pro style upgrade. So it's interesting just to see what is possible. So I don't want to sit here and just attack and destroy the whole Switch hacking community, because I don't think a majority of Switch hackers are malicious in intent, even though their tools can enable malicious activities. But what I do think is that people like this do give a bad name to the hacking community, and there's a lot of you guys watching right now that are anti-Switch hacking. I am going to tell you right now, I have never hacked my Switch. I don't plan to hack my Switch. I don't plan to hack any Switch. But I'm not going to be upset if somebody does. It's your prerogative, your product. You actually have a legal right to hack your Switch. But this guy went beyond just hacking Switches. He was hacking Nintendo's own servers, which is clearly breaking the law. Hacking your Switch is not breaking the law. Hacking Nintendo servers is. And then obviously through that, he got busted for something much worse. And I just want to, I shouldn't have to say this, but clearly, I do not condone any actions that require, that are doing illegal activities such as hacking company servers. Do not condone that, or any of the information obtained from that being used. That's why I'm not going to reveal anything I've seen now, because it's not right. If leaks come through other methods. And now the problem is with the stuff I've seen, now I always have to question, are these leaks coming from the right channels, or are they just people who saw this information? It kind of muddles the water now for me as a reporter if stuff comes out, but what am I going to do? I guess it's not my responsibility as long as the information doesn't come from me. But also, obviously, clearly, this child stuff, no. I don't personally care if you guys have a folder on your computer where you keep some of your favorite prawn going on, right? It doesn't bother me if you have that. If you're an adult, you're 18 plus. Heck, even if you're a teenager, I looked at things when I was a teenager, but I looked at things that were people who were legal and came from legit websites. And I think that it's okay if you have a folder of your favorite stuff. It's not okay for that folder to be of minors. Very clearly, there is a line in the sand of what is deemed acceptable and what is not, and that is unacceptable. And you are a sicko if that is what your fetish is and what you're into. I don't care if you're 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't care that you're closer to being a kid than living a full 30-plus-year-old adult life. But I don't care. It's not okay. It's just not. It's not okay to look at freaking 8-year-olds doing stupid crap. And it's not okay for the people that are taking those pictures and videos too, by the way, who put them on the internet in the first place. We all know that's bad acting too. So it's all disgusting. And I'm kind of getting sick to the stomach talking about it. So I'm just going to end it right here. I feel sorry for the Switch hacking community that already has to deal with, a bad rap from the bad actors already. And this is one of the worst. So, take it for what it is. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I am Nate Jantz. This is just hard for me to talk to. Like this video if you like it. It's a weird video to like, but like it if you do. Subscribe for more content. We'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm just disgusted right now. So, see you guys later.